I want to quickly dispel this myth once and for all. I don't care what director, writer, or producer said this theory was accurate, but there is no possible way that Anna and Elsa's parents are also Tarzan's parents. They don't resemble each other at all. Tarzan's father has dark hair and mutton chops, and his mother has long red hair that naturally held in locks. Elsa's father was blonde with a thin mustache, and her mother was a brunette with a round face. This is a no-brainer, guys. These characters don't even slightly match. Not to mention, Frozen takes place in 1839, as is proven in Frozen Fever, meaning Agdar and Idun set sail in 1836. Tarzan wasn't even born for another 63 years after that. But even though I think this theory is as bogus as the idea that Scar is not Simba's uncle, I do believe that Tarzan had another blood relative that has never been discussed. Now, usually I argue that books and movies have to be considered alternate universes from each other, because once a movie studio makes any changes or cuts, you can't really say that the book and the movie are the same thing anymore. This tends to be especially true with Disney, because they wave their kid-friendly wand over everything, and they have to transmutate characters and story arcs to fit within their needs. However, there are exceptions for every rule, especially when you take a huge collection of written work and try to condense it down to one movie. For example, I often reference comic books for answers in Marvel movies, because the comic verse is never ending and the movies are always trying to give Easter egg references that lead back to the source material. Other films, like The Black Cauldron, make almost no sense if you don't look back to the book. And Tarzan is one of those interesting cases as well, because the Tarzan franchise spans over 25 books and tons of unauthorized work, and perhaps Disney wanted to leave some clues to use in future sequels. Well, I mean better sequels than that straight-to-video insanity that Disney actually produced. But to prove my point, Disney never dates Tarzan, but the first book, Tarzan of the Apes, says that he was born in September of 1889, and he meets Jane when he's 20. Disney's Tarzan looks to be that same age and in that same era, so I would wholeheartedly agree that these book facts are true for the movie too. But when looking at Tarzan, looking at his father, and really noticing that prominent chin, I can't help but observe that the movie's antagonist, Clayton, has an extremely similar jawline. Like, extremely similar. Right down to having that divot in the same spot. So I started to look for clues in the Tarzan novels, and sure enough, Tarzan eventually learns that his real name is John Clayton, the Earl of Greystoke. Lo and behold, the novels also feature a character named William Cecil Clayton, who inherited a large estate by default when his uncle and cousin vanished and were assumed dead. That can't be a coincidence. Disney could have named their villain anything in the world, including other characters from the Tarzan novels. You guys, Clayton the villain is Tarzan's blood relative, but I don't believe that character is supposed to be William Cecil Clayton, or at least not the William Cecil Clayton that was Tarzan's first cousin. No, I think that the movie Clayton is Tarzan's uncle, as Clayton is roughly 50 in the movie, and that would make him poised to be the younger brother to Tarzan's father. The father appears to be around his mid-30s at the beginning of the film, so add 20 years to cover the time of Tarzan's age, and the father would be roughly in his 50s if he were still alive. And yes, I realize it's possible that Tarzan could have a much older cousin. However, if the Clayton family had a son old enough to have a 50-year-old child, that son would have naturally been the Earl of Greystoke, not Tarzan's father. So for both men to be named Clayton, the most logical assumption is that they were brothers. That means when Tarzan and his parents disappear, presumed dead, the title Earl of Greystoke would have been passed over to the younger brother, something Clayton. We never actually get Clayton's full name in the movie, but then upon movie Clayton's death at the end of the film, the Earl title would then move to William Cecil Clayton in England. If the books were to be followed, then William would have relinquished everything to Tarzan when he comes forward as John Clayton. Now, if Disney had continued with a serious Tarzan sequel, having Tarzan find out his real name and reclaiming his birthright and title, while dealing with the fact that his own uncle attempted to kill him, would have made a great story. And who knows, with Disney, they may have made William Clayton an ally or a new villain. But unfortunately for us, Disney didn't go this direction. And maybe it's because the story arc is so similar precursor to Pocahontas 2, Journey to a New World, which flopped hard while Tarzan was in its later stages of the production process. But the pieces are certainly laid out in Tarzan to suggest that this idea of a sequel with a big relative reveal was in play when the writers were working on the Tarzan script. And while books and their movies aren't always a perfect fit, and Disney certainly turned their Tarzan movie into an alternate universe, this is one of the exceptions where the book can leave a trail of breadcrumbs to find more answers. Yeah, I might be overthinking it, but that's literally my job. Well, that's all I have for now, but this video's not quite over yet. I get a lot of comments that say, do a theory on this topic, but I've already done those theories. So please consider going to my main channel page and clicking on the video tab so that way you can see everything I've done. You will probably find a lot of things you like that you never even knew that I posted. I want to let you know that I also have two other channels, Say Halo Goodbye Gaming and the Fanily Family Vlogs. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed enough to hit subscribe and share. I can use all the help I can get to let other people know that this channel exists. And if you made it this far, leave me a comment that says something like, hey, I made it to the end, and then let me know what kind of videos you want to see in the future. I can't make any promises, but the more people that request something, the more I can look into it. Okay, well, I love you. I'll see you in the next video.